Welcome to the Running Channel podcast with me, Rick Kelsey, Sarah Hartley, and Andy Baddeley. Now, I'm a planner. I love a plan. But do we need a plan?
Well, you're always telling us that we need to keep to 30 minutes for this podcast, so we have to plan pretty hard for that every week.
But I was actually talking about running.
Oh, well, you never plan a run. So,
No, I don't.
so according to you, we don't need it. But we're going to be talking about, do you always need a training plan and what a training plan's actually for? Plus, we're going to get up to date with all of the latest running news and answer your questions. So let's get into it.
Right before we hit record on this podcast,
here we go.
Sarah said to Rick, does this mean I'm not going to get a kiss on my text messages from you now?
This is like 2 years ago, wasn't it? You sent me a message accidentally, which was meant for your wife.
Oh, yeah.
And I still think it was one of the greatest days of my life.
What did it say? Do you remember what it said?
It was like, I think it was something like, thanks, love, X. And I think before that, it matched up perfectly because I had just sent you something. So I was like, you're welcome.
Yeah, it's a bit like when you get a kiss of someone you work with and you're like, on a text, I don't know how to respond to that. Because I'm not going to do it.
We put kisses on our messages to each other, I think.
Yeah, oh, guys.
But I suppose I've known you for a long time. Yeah. I mean, Sarah, I might do it at Christmas. You know.
Under the mistletoe.
Wow, if I've been a really good girl this year.
Oh my goodness, this is taking a weird turn.
No, as in naughty and nice list, guys. Let's keep this nice and wholesome.
Yeah. Right, okay.
Yeah.
She's just Sarah's looking forward to getting one from Rick at Christmas.
Oh my God, we're 2 minutes into a running podcast. We're going to stick with us. If this is the first one that you've listened to, we're on 86. We're running out of stuff.
No, we're not. We're not running out because we keep getting provided with the ammunition. So I've got a lovely message from Mike Grant, who sent a message saying, love the banter. Best trio of presenters since the original Top Gear.
No way.
Oh, stop it. That is a
love that.
I mean, how many trios of presenters are there?
There aren't that many.
There's loads.
Really?
Okay, loads of trios.
Okay.
There's loads and we're the best.
Literally anything of Top Gear.
Don't undo all the
sorry.
stuff.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, it carries on though. Talking about something they love, cars or running, in such a fun and engaging way.
That's us.
Andy equals Jeremy Clarkson, the expert, the boss, the man with the final say. I love this, Mike.
Yeah.
Sarah equals Richard Hammond, younger, lively, gets the fun challenges.
I don't know where this is going.
That leaves Rick equals James May, slower, prefers to sit in the corner with pipe and slippers, or in Rick's case, in the hot tub with a Gavi and the Horse and Hounds magazine. Great presenters, great topics, great fun.
I do like Horse and Hounds.
Stop it. Have you read Horse and Hounds?
I've read Horse and Hounds.
Is it just about horses and hounds?
Well, yeah, it's about country life.
Yeah. Right, fine.
Yeah.
Isn't that the magazine that Hugh Grant pretends to be from?
But it is actually quite a good read.
Yeah. I actually didn't think it was a real thing. I thought he just made it up.
Yeah.
Right, should we talk about running? How's your half marathon training going?
Andy's actually written into my diary like specific days what I should be doing on those days. So I literally follow it word to word what I'm doing.
This ties in perfectly with the topic. Yeah, and how's it going?
Well, it's 10% increase every week. So roughly. So last week I did 13 and a half, and then
Rick is the perfect patient. So not only in the rehab stuff, he's had surgeries, doesn't ever talk about it, but he did diligently do all of that stuff. It turns out when following a training plan, he's also to the 0.00 of a kilometre or mile.
You just don't like doing any extra, do you, mate?
No,
you don't over-deliver.
I try to time it so I get back to my front door on whatever Andy's told me to do.
Very good.
So Rick in life, neither over nor under deliver. Just delivers.
Just delivers.
You're the person. You're not overwhelming. You're not underwhelming. You're just whelming. I feel like most days on this podcast I am just whelmed by it.
Seriously, training plans can just be a cacophony of tundra. It can just be
Didn't understand any of those words.
A lot of noise, a lot of whispering phones on a train carriage, all shouting at you to do different things. So unless you've got it hard, written down on a sheet, being told what to do, or in your diary, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to follow it.
Well, there we go.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, I need to look up tundra because I don't think that's right. A cacophony of tundra was very poetic, though.
Well, it's a treeless plain. A tundra is a treeless plain.
A what?
A treeless plain. So you're just running without any guidance.
But isn't that the opposite of what you were saying?
That is the opposite of a training plan.
Yeah, you're talking about how much noise there is.
Yeah, there's so much noise in a treeless plain, so you've got nowhere to identify your sites. So you've got no landmarks. You just got lots of noise without any landmarks.
I tell you what you wouldn't have in a tundra. Either shade nor shadow.
If you'd listened to the previous episode of the Running Channel podcast, you would understand that I had perfectly made sense in talking about that there is a slight difference between shade and shadow. If you are standing, if you were standing in an area where the sun could be directly facing towards you, but there was something blocking your view, you are thus in shadow. If you are standing in an area where the sun could never shine directly on you, you are thus in shade
and shadow,
which is colder, which is darker, which would need some ambiance, some lighting in it in order to be able to see, as opposed to shadow, where you can still see because the sun is still present.
We're still talking about training plans here.
That's legitimate. Right, anyway, Andy, how's your
I think
rehab?
Just for future social media purposes, we're going to have to clip up that moment of you shutting me down with it. I enjoyed that very much.
Oh, you're welcome. How's your running going?
So I've been continuing to rehab, been back in the gym a few times. I'm pain-free in all of the important movements and stuff like that now. So
I thought you were going to say I'm pain-free in all of the important places.
What would those
Still
be?
make a noise when I sit down, but that's old age.
Yeah, I think I've embraced that now, though. I quite enjoy it as I sit down.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. And as I stand up again.
Okay, can I talk about my running now?
Oh, yeah, let's ask Sarah.
I went on a really good run the other day. So Tom is currently training towards his 10k PB.
Yeah.
And as I'm like in a bit of an interim, I'm just having a bit of fun with running at the moment. I'm on a training plan, which I'll come on to later because I've got an important argument to this debate. However, I am taking all of the component parts and having a bit of fun with them. So I've been to run clubs. I went to the first, what I would call scary run club experience.
What, is this, fell over?
Is this where you fell over, or is this a new one?
No, this is a new one.
Oh, right, okay.
So I went with our producer, Owen, and can I just caveat this with, it was not scary at all. I'd bigged it up too much in my head. But there's running crews and there's running clubs.
Right.
Running, and they will do different sessions. So you've got social sessions, but you also have kind of traditional running clubs where it is very specific structured training.
Yes.
And I hadn't ever been to one of those before, but I went down and it was actually really fun. We did parlay.
Parlauf?
That one, 800s.
So that's like a split relay with a partner.
Parlay?
Yeah, no.
As in,
wrong.
The pirate's code?
No. Well, Andy said. I can't repeat. I can't repeat that.
Parlay is from like Pirates of the Caribbean,
Right,
isn't it?
Parlauf.
Parlauf, yeah.
Parlauf.
If you invoke parlay, you've got to basically let someone free.
I mean, that is kind of...
No, I think isn't it the right to be taken to the captain and have a discussion?
I think you just
Doesn't it just mean talking?
Yeah.
I think
we've gone off on...
I think we've gone too much words.
You've got to do what they say.
Anyway, it was 800 metres. You go out, run 400 out, 400 back, your partner waits, and then you come in, tap, and then go. Yeah. And it was so fun. And would I have run that fast or far if I had been by myself? No. So lovely.
I don't know exactly, but Parlauf, it's like a split distance relay. So Lauf is run and Par must be part or split.
Much like longer recoveries than you would traditionally do in like an 800 session. But actually it meant it was really social.
And we stood around with the other people that are waiting as well at that point.
Yeah, we were supposed to be walking, but we kind of took that quite loosely and just stood. But then you were supposed to run out at kind of tempo pace and then back a little bit faster. Did I take that advice either? No. Everyone sprinted off, died just before we got to the kind of 400 metre mark, turned around and went, oh my gosh, I've got to go faster.
Oh, exactly like my kids' approach to junior parkrun.
Yeah.
Sprint.
Oh yeah, how's that going?
Walk. It's good. Sam is only 7, but he is faster than his older sister, which
is difficult.
She's not very happy about.
How are they dealing with that?
Well, I mean, it means we haven't gone for a little while.
I understand that. I respect that. You need to make your life as easy as possible with that many children.
How many children are doing with that many children? Yeah. How many children are doing it though? Could you not just put him towards the back of the queue and her towards the front?
Well,
and it'll even out?
If anyone's seen the 1000th Bushy Park run, where people they ran out of barcodes. They were writing people's codes.
People queued for like 40 minutes, 200 meters from the finish.
Oh, at least that. People queuing for over an hour just to get their barcode.
Really?
That's because I took all my children.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
So,
I was thinking
you should give like a little, you know how you can get like little weather alerts when it's like yellow warning for rain. It should be like yellow warning, the Baddeleys are coming.
Warning,
yeah. Anyway, should we talk about training plans?
Yes, let's.
So the question from this is, the question that we're asking is, why do you need a training plan? When would you use one? What is it for? Would the world be a better place if we didn't follow them?
Would it be a better place? It would be... well, I love Rick is the perfect athlete to coach because you say do something and he does that thing.
Maybe you're a good person to start with. So you rarely follow a training plan. On an average week, when it gets to Monday morning, how do you decide when you're going to run and when you're not going to run?
He's not going to run because it's a Monday.
No, you're right. I wouldn't run on a Monday. Well, I'd make sure I had 2 days clear until a Saturday where I'd almost definitely run on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So
you work backwards from that?
Yeah, so I'd either run Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday, and then I'd go out my front door, I'd start my watch, I'd run in one direction, have no plan where I was going to go, but it would be hilly. And
does that not stress you out? That really, I can feel my chest tightening.
I'd have a distance in mind, so I don't know, 10, 12, 13 and a half last week. And I'd aim to get back to my front door in 13 and a half.
Do you plan those routes at all? Do you use, I mean, I'm asking this question
knowing
very confident in the answer. Do you use any form of technology to support that route planning?
No. Do I need to? Well, but I have a training plan though, don't I? So I have a long run in the week, which I'm doing. But I'm all meant I've got a 10% rule, which is a running training plan. Yeah. So I'm going up 10%. I'm trying to keep my pace just below 6 minutes per kilometre.
Yeah.
Increasing that, and then I'm having a fast kind of race style, high tempo 5K-ish on a Saturday. So I have got a plan. I just don't know which direction or where I'm going to end up.
Okay, and then completely conversely, Andy, when was the last time you did a week of training with no plan?
It's been a bit disjointed with injury, but I've still had a rehab plan. And if I find it, I'm much less likely to do the running I need to do in a week or want to do in a week, unless I've decided when I'm doing it and exactly what I'm doing on which day and planned out which shoes I'm going to wear.
This is what I mean.
Yeah. This is another level.
Yeah, because then I'm thinking, well, okay, before that day I'm working from home, so I can squeeze it in after drop off before my first video call. Mm-hmm. And then on this particular day, I need to do a faster run, which means that maybe I can do it from the office and get to this particular park to do it in, and I'll do it in this pair of shoes because I can do both my warm-up and training session in the same pair of shoes and not have to drop them in a bush.
Are you still listening? I've lost him.
Oh, yeah, boring. Yeah, boring. But that gives me the
bush clip last week. So many people commented.
I don't think people agree with me. Right?
Oh my God, on the fact that you leave your shoes in a bush when you run. Weird.
I don't think it's weird.
I think that is weird.
Yeah.
I think it's very normal. Yeah. I am incredibly normal. Runners are normal.
Really not.
Everyone who's not like me is weird. I think I don't like having to make decisions. And so the training plan does that for me.
Hang on, you've got to go through a load of decisions, Andy, by the very fact that you're doing the training plan, because you're creating a training plan based on decisions, where if you just go out and run, there are no decisions.
Yeah, but then
how do you decide how far you're going?
Yeah.
We'll just pick a distance and then try and get back to your front door.
But I think that's what Andy's like mitigating here is he's like, right, okay, at the start of the training block, I would like to run this far at the end. I'd like to run this fast, maybe, if you're attaching a time goal. And then all of it is decided for you. And then all you're doing is allocating the decisions you've already made.
Also, I'm motivated by a real sense of purpose in what I'm trying to do in the running. Like there have definitely been periods where I've just like, it's quite liberating to just go out for a run every now and again.
Yeah.
But I'm much less consistent during those periods because I can skip a day.
I think that's what I find as well, is that the things that will motivate me to get out the door is either a consistent plan or running with other people.
Yeah.
So the times that I am most consistent is either when I have people being like, should we do this? Do you want to go for a run here? Yeah. Or if I'm like, right, this is what I need to do this week, I'm going to plot it in. Otherwise, I don't know. I just feel like I'd never go out.
Aside from my actual career, when my job and livelihood depended on it, the most consistent I've ever been was for my marathon last year because I was so scared of not being able to do it. And so I had to have that real structure because also, working 40, 50 hours a week and doing the childcare and coaching football and stuff at the weekends and things like that. Without the structure, there was no chance of me doing the amount of miles or building up, because this is the other thing of a training plan. It gets you, like Sarah said, from point A to B.
Especially the amount the other dads pick on you at football.
Oh yeah, I know. They're so mean to me. I deserve it.
If someone is training for a distance or if someone is training for a particular time, would we always recommend a training plan? Or do you think people can get to places without structured training?
I think it depends on what stage in their journey they're at. Like some people might like the freedom. Like certainly when I returned to running after my career, having had a year or two where I just didn't really run at all, I didn't really want structure. I just wanted to love running again.
Yeah.
But I do think that if you're trying to run a brand new distance for the first time ever, or you're trying to run faster than you've ever run before, or you're returning to running after a long time off or injury or a big life event like giving birth, then I think that the structure of a training plan, certainly for the way that my brain works, is vital for me. Or
at least having the kind of knowledge and understanding to be able to rearrange things. Because I know Tom, for example, he's training for a 10K at the moment. He is relatively new in his running journey. So previously, if he's been on a training plan and he's been like, right, okay, I need to do this on this day, this on this day, this on this day. Yeah. If he's had to move that around, he's had to ask for help in order to know what to do. Whereas sometimes if you do have the knowledge to know like, right, I need to do these runs. If I do these 2 back to back, that's not going to be good. So I have to spread these out. I need to put my long run here. I need to do my tempo session here. Then you can play around with it a little bit more. But I think sometimes as well that training plan gives you the confidence because it's giving you what you need to do in the order you need to do it in order to run what you want to run without leaving all of those decisions to you when you might not know the right answer. Yeah, I think that the training plan takes the guesswork out of it. That's the main point, isn't it? So if you are familiar with 80-20 training, for example, so that's 80% at an relatively easy running level and 20% of your weekly mileage at a faster intensity. That's quite hard to calculate week on week. And it's really hard to calculate it in a way that gets you from starting a 16-week training plan at the beginning where your long run might be 10K, right the way up to being ready to run a marathon in 16 weeks where your long run's going to be over 30K or around about 30K. Yeah. And actually then being like, okay, well, I mean, marathon's slightly different, but at the other end of the spectrum of 5K, your intense work will be really fast. And so getting that, you don't want to be doing half of your weekly mileage at 5K pace. Yeah. But then when you miss a run, recalculating, all that sort of stuff is quite difficult. And I think there's a difference between the types of training plan as well. Some are more rigid, so you could have downloaded a PDF. In the middle, you've got training plans through apps that might be more adaptive. And so they're a middle ground. And then you've got real life coaches. And so the advantage of me when I worked with Andy, who was my coach through my professional career, I actually think his main job was taking out decision-making and removing the guilt. And I mean, by that I mean, if you're following a rigid PDF training plan and it says on Tuesday run 10K, but like life gets in the way and you don't run that 10K, then you've got 2 things to worry about. One is, what do I do instead the next day? Do I just abandon that and move on to whatever the next day is in the training plan? Do I try and squeeze it in? And then you've got the second thing, which is you feel really guilty for not doing what you were meant to have done. And Andy's job with me, psychologically, it was always like, he's made that call. He's like, don't run today. It's all good. And then,
he's very good about stuff like that if you miss a day, though. When we're talking about this training plan, we're all talking about running here. The 3 of us are all talking about, as in a training plan just for running, not the stuff that has to go around it. Yeah. So when you devised that for me, I obviously thought, well, I've got to move around my strength and conditioning here because I always follow a 50-50 rule. If I do 2 runs a week, I've got to do 2 S&C sessions a week. So you got to space those out. So they've got to be in the gap days in between. So I think it's easy to create a running training plan that is just purely about running and not the other important stuff that's around it.
Yeah.
I've got some breaking news. I'm excited to go to the gym today.
Why?
I'm really enjoying it at the moment.
Have you changed gyms?
No. Well, yeah. From when I used to go last year, I've changed.
We've changed from your living room to a gym.
I've changed from my living room to the gym. I love it. It's great. But because I plan it in, because I know what I'm doing, and because I am doing the gym in a way that motivates me, similar to running. So like, for example, I've run with people in when we did Endure 24 back in June, I think this year. I ran with a guy who was trying to get onto the 300 marathon list. I think there's not many people in the UK who have done it and you get put on a list. And he said that he was like, I've trained up to be able to run these distances. I love running a marathon. Don't care about the pace. I hate training. So he will go out and he will do social runs and he will keep up his fitness. But actually what he just loves is being within an event, running within the kind of fitness that he is for that particular day, hates the training element of it. And that's what motivates him. So I've applied that to the gym. I enjoy seeing progress. So I'm doing similar movements each week and trying to up the weight. I enjoy being on a structure. So I have a longer plan that goes through with my training. And I actually enjoy it. And genuinely for the last week, all I've been thinking about is I'm so excited to go back to the gym.
That's great.
I wonder whether this links to, I'm obsessed with productivity generally. And I will read stuff about work and whether that's to support the team or generally about myself and to stop myself procrastinating and being distracted by a million notifications at work and so on. And from everything that I've read, including like stuff from like the Harvard Business Review and so on, like this is a massive industry, right? Productivity apps and software and top tips and books and hacks and stuff like that. But one of the main things I've read that works for the majority of people is blocking out time in your diary for the things that are your priorities in that day.
Yeah.
And that's the most effective way to be effective at work. But that's what you're describing from your, and that's for me. If I know that I'm going to the gym at 6 o'clock after work on a Monday, whatever it might be, then
Same. See you there.
There we go. Then I'm way more likely to go. And what happens if I don't have that kind of almost in my calendar is that it gets to 6 o'clock and I'm still working on something that I don't really need to do, but I sort of then procrastinate. Then it's 6:45 and I'm like, oh no, I've missed my window, because then I have to get the train, I have to get home. And so it's...
And you just push it. So I think that the one thing that a training plan can give you is productivity.
Yeah.
And like a appointment to be there.
Exactly that.
It's interesting you just said about, both of you just said, I'll have an appointment to go to the gym at 6 o'clock. That's part of the training plan that's very personal to people, isn't it? As in, there's no chance on earth I would go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the evening.
No, because the cork has already been popped from the galley at 6 p.m.
Yeah,
He's had a facial at 4. He can't possibly go to the gym after that.
I'm in good times, but past 5 o'clock.
We don't sweat after 6 p.m. in the Rick Kelsey house.
I get up and everything is first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Everything, get it done. I can't let my day drag on knowing I've got to do, I don't know, Andy's 13.5 kilometres.
It's Andy's. You're putting
Andy's
that to me. It's my fault.
kilometre.
But
each one dedicated to him and
regardless
his children.
But it is really personal. But the training plan should be devised either by someone or by yourself that fits into your life. But then what it does is it gives you purpose as well. I bang on about this so much. Every run should have a purpose. If you're training for a particular goal, then make sure you know what that run that you're doing is for, even if it's just to free your mind. Acknowledging that and being like, this run is to free my mind. Like, I'm going to go out and clear out all the work nonsense on this run today.
That's good. I love the purpose thing because it's a hard call to act. It's like, what am I doing with this? It's not subject. It's not objective. It's get out there, have a purpose for every single run you get out of.
Yeah. And that's what's really nice to see with training plans as well, is that there are training plans for different purposes. So I think what we've gathered from this conversation is that it's completely personal. You need to find something that motivates you to get out there, to run and achieve your goal, whatever that might be, whether that's being consistent, whether that's achieving a certain goal. But with all of this, it is get your purpose for whatever you're wanting to do. Is it get out a bit more? Is it, right, I need to be on a plan because I'm recovering from a big event. I need to be on a plan because I'm training for a certain event. But let us know. Email in podcast@therunningchannel.com. Do you use a training plan? Do you have any other questions about training plans that you'd like us to answer? We can cover it in another episode. But you're listening to the Running Channel podcast. Up next, we've got the news, followed by your questions. First up, very exciting bit of news. We've made hats.
Actual hats. They're real. Look
You've
at them.
got one on your head right
Rick's
now.
got one. I'm going to put one on for the purposes of this section of the podcast because I actually love this hat and I've been training in it all the time. So
Very nice. Yeah. You've got, for our audio listeners, you've got a kind of... I've just realised I'm so bad at describing. You've got a black and grey design, a bit more of a jazzy hat.
Yeah, geometric pattern with a running channel on the front. This is the feather racing cap, which is...
There you go. You can tell
much
Andy
more
designed
lightweight
it.
cap. Rick has got the trucker hat on.
Yeah, I went to Canada in the summer and I wore this hat a lot. Kind of the first prototype. Would that be the first version?
Yeah.
This is V2, and quite a lot of people ask me in Canada, where can I get that hat?
Nice.
Well, now you can get it if you go on our website. This is kind of a pre-teaser because this comes out on the 21st of September. On the 23rd of September, so Monday, 23rd of September, 2024, these hats will become available. So head to therunningchannel.com.
Yeah.
And you will be able to get your hands on these hats. It's a collaboration with Varga. If you know and you've tried their hats before, we all love them.
And they're a British company based in the Lake District, make amazing running hats, which is why I went to them first for our... It's not only merch, which we've not really released properly before, but it's also like our first collab with a brand in this way, and they've done such a brilliant job. They've got amazing in-house designers that really helped us with this stuff.
The culture is fascinating with hats in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like the hat that Andy's wearing at the moment is kind of, flat, round, peaked at the front, tight, close to the ears, sculpted. And it's quite British. It's kind of like, it's got like quite a kind of, I would say kind of East London kind of vibe, but obviously not just in London.
But it's sort of like, it's evolved as a style of running hat that's come from, I think, the like smaller cycling hats.
Exactly.
But I love that for that purpose.
Whereas this one is kind of, it's a lot more North American. And speaking to the guys at Varga on the shoot that we did with them, they were saying that, this one, the kind of the peaky one it's growing in Britain. Britain's just developing a taste for the trucker hat. Whereas you go to the States and people just wear them to.
So you try
so even though it's a trucker hat, it's a technical running hat.
It's a technical, but it's the style. The style is trucker hat. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. I think you guys look great, and I know everyone listening to this, the running channel community have been shouting at us for a long time about getting merch.
Yes.
So this is
drop one.
This is drop one of.
At least
more.
two.
At least two. It takes a long time.
Should we talk about the Berlin Marathon?
Ooh, yes. So that is, as you're listening to this, that is next weekend. And it promises to be so fast. And one of our own, Jess Finesse, is taking it on and hoping to break 3 hours for the very first time.
Yeah, what did she run? 3 hours and 10 minutes or 3 hours? Sorry, 3 hours and 10 seconds.
Yeah. So she needs to find 11 seconds on the Berlin Marathon
Jess
course.
is fast.
And it's a fast race, 50th edition this year.
Why is it so fast?
It's flat.
Because it's so flat.
Yeah.
And I think as well, like there's not many, so you can have really fast flat courses, but with loads of turns in, whereas this one, it's a really nice shape where
it's
actually, gentle. The very gentle turns. None of it's too
Such
sharp.
an amazing city
What's
as well.
really exciting as well is that the 2 hour mark has been broken, but not in an official kind of able to be a world record setting. So I think the kind of perpetual chase for can 2 hours be broken within a marathon where it is kind of a legal record. Will it happen this year? Well, they've got 6 sub 205 male runners in the race, which is double from last year. So everything is being thrown at it. They've also got 4 sub 220 women. So I think it's going to be, as it always is, an incredibly fast race to watch. And actually I've run Berlin, and what I really enjoyed is the fact that when you cross the line, everyone is frantically checking the results, not for their own result, but for that elite competition, and seeing just how fast they've gone.
Do we think it's the flattest of all the marathons, the big ones?
It's definitely one of the flattest. There's a really nice little chart that you can get of all of them.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously it's one of the majors, which means it has the money to secure some of the biggest names. In fact, this is the first year since 2014 that one of Kenenisa Bekele or Eliud Kipchoge aren't running. So that's a pretty amazing stat. So they've always had the big headliners there.
It's so flat that there is a rollerblading marathon that happens either just before or the day before.
I think it's the day before. Yeah, I've seen it. It's nuts. Yeah.
So it's flat enough for that.
Because Valencia was flat.
Yes,
it was flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 3K bit that you saw.
I don't think I saw that
much. Was it that much? But anyway, let us know if you are running Berlin Marathon, and if you are, very, very best of luck.
Yeah.
Questions.
Connor from Portsmouth. I've signed up to run my first ever 10K this coming November. My question is, do you always know what the next race or distance/time you are aiming for? If not, how do you keep going without a specific endpoint in mind?
Oh, this is a good question. It kind of ties into the whole training plan thing. Do you guys always have the next event?
I find it difficult to run consistently and follow any kind of regimented training without something, even if it's just a interim, like, I'm going to do that park run in 6 weeks and I'm going to see how fast I can do that against my previous time I went to that same park run. Then that gives me something to look forward to in that 6 weeks.
What about you, Rick?
I don't think I do. I mean, I probably will always have the aim of, a next park run or an next 5K, but recently more so, basically because you've keep signing me up to things.
Yeah.
I think
do.
I think it helps though, especially with the training plan, to have that focus that you've got an event coming and you're working towards something. But I actually also find it a little bit of a relief that maybe I've got 3 months where I haven't got to work towards anything, because then you can reset your mind and reset your aims.
That's so interesting. That's how Rick views his running. He just used the word work. It's supposed to be your hobby.
sometimes, probably. Sometimes.
No, but I think it's interesting. I personally like having like a far away goal. So then you have that like relaxation downtime. But then is this weird? I can't have that downtime without knowing when the work is going to begin towards the next goal.
Do you remember what you said in January when we did our running goals for the year?
Yeah.
That's what you said far away. You said about not setting too many goals this year.
Yeah.
That was your goal.
Oh God. If anyone...
It was to reduce the amount of goals so you enjoyed your running more.
Yeah. Has that happened? I should probably listen back to that. No one else listen back to that, because if you do, you will hear one of the goals that I set, which isn't happening towards the end of the year. We're not running long or hilly or an ultramarathon. That was January, Sarah.
That was January.
Yeah, that was January, Sarah. Yeah. We're now in September, Sarah. September, Sarah, is a lot more chill / uninterested in running really far.
Nice. Well, you know why Rick calls running work?
Yeah.
Because he only works about 2 hours a day otherwise.
So he just
that is the biggest pile of nonsense.
He just has to add his hours up.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, let's make it.
He's like, guys, can I run a half marathon? Because then that's at least 2 hours of work on a Sunday.
There was only one person who was still working at 1:30 this morning and got up to come in here.
Rick, sometimes you need to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
That's why me and Andy do a 9 to 5.
Do you know what? Sometimes it's more polite just to take the abuse and carry on. So let's move on to Dries from Belgium. I'm a firm believer in the sock, shoe method. However, I take it a step further and always put my left sock first, then my right one. Otherwise, it just doesn't feel right. Also, for those running with compression tubes.
Yeah, like compression sleeves, I imagine.
Oh, you run in those, don't you?
Yeah, I have done. So you'd wear them on your calves. You can get compression socks, but you can also get a version without the foot, so you can wear whatever running sock you want.
Oh, okay.
Like a leg warmer.
Okay. Yeah. Do you put those on first or your socks first? So compression, sock, shoe, or sock, compression, shoe. Important question, no doubt.
This is a great question because... You know, I learned this recently that in cycling, apparently there is, and I can't remember which way around it is, you're either cool or uncool based on where the stem of your glasses are in relation to the straps of your helmet.
Sarah, that's come on. This is just
thing.
No, it's not cool or not cool. It's triathlon or cyclist. So if you're a cyclist, then you'd have the sunglasses on the outside of your straps because it kind of stops the straps flapping around. This is my understanding. Yeah. And if you're a triathlete, you need to take your helmet on and off so you wouldn't have your sunglasses outside the straps.
Oh, so you'd have them underneath.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
It's the type of stuff that turns people off sport.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, look, and that's why we're a running podcast, because there's a lot less fat.
Because you can do whatever you want. Cotton t-shirt, old race t-shirts, just
whatever
rock
you
up,
like.
have some fun.
Do you think, though, if we were being pernickety, does it look better to have sock compression so that the sock is tucked in, or does it look better to have compression sock? I personally would go compression sleeve on first and then sock over the top, like if you were wearing like a longer legging.
Yeah.
I've done both. I've done sock with legging pulled over the top.
When I used to wear during my career, I used to wear the compression sleeves quite a lot because I had some calf issues. But I think this is going to be a bit rogue because I used to combine them with a no-show sock. So you could see like shoe, ankle, compression.
Stop it. No, you didn't.
I think
you have compression sleeve, bare ankle, probably with a bit of hair poking out from below the compression sleeve.
Shaved my legs.
Shoe.
Yeah.
I think we're learning more about Andy in the last couple of weeks.
Shoes in a bush.
In 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. And what order would you put it on?
There's a lot going on there.
I'd have gone compression sleeves, then sleeve, compression, sock. Compression, sock.
I mean, really, all you're doing is you're working down. So it's the same way as like, no, please tell me that there is no one out there that would go sock, shoe, short.
Well, there will be.
Like if you are stood there with socks and shoes on and in your pants. Come on.
Briefly.
Do better.
Well,
I'm going to try that next time.
The compression tubes.
Yeah.
Are they worthwhile?
I think I used to really think that they made a difference to the amount of mileage that I was doing, and like you do feel like you're supported. I think like a lot of, I need to go and read the science, not the latest science, but like a lot of recovery mechanisms, there's a huge placebo element to it. Like if you feel like they help you, then they help you.
Well, I might give that a crack next week.
Give it a go.
Yeah. Before we go, I've just got a question. We were talking about it, had a few drinks on Saturday night, some friends around, and they came to me with this question. I thought you two will know the answer to this. What do you think is going to be the first unicorn startup brand in running. So not the established old school big brands, if you like, but brand that is, come into the running arena over the last 5, 10, whatever years, and it's going to be the first $1 billion running brand.
Ooh.
Well, I think, has it already happened? Would On Running be in that bracket?
Maybe, yeah.
I think it's either going to have to be shoe tech, because that is what like people will pay the most money for.
Yeah.
Like if you look at, there are some brands out there where it's really expensive for t-shirt or shorts, and I think people are a little bit more resistant to that unless it is like technology which really makes a difference. But I think it'll be something
Runner?
I think it'll be shoe related.
Yeah, or often those crazy, or not, maybe they're not crazy, but there's a difference, isn't there, between a footwear manufacturer that drives that amount of revenue versus, say, a tech startup that could be valued at something that is almost like future looking in terms of they're not quite there yet, but right now we're going to value it this, when investors pile in and stuff. So yeah, who knows?
It's interesting though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, well, that was fun.
That was very fun. Quick request from me. Please keep emailing in your running fears, because that's what we're going to be discussing in a future episode.
Oh yeah, do you have one?
I think my running fear is to do with how long am I going to be able to run for in life?
Oh,
That's probably quite a big one.
Once you get to my age, will you still be able to run?
Yeah,
in case you start creaking and have to stop?
I can't even comprehend being that old.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh no, it's not quite double my age.
Well,
Sarah.
do you know what? There's a guy I do parkrun with, and he's just turned 60, so still middle-aged, still young, but he has just run his fastest ever parkrun, and he's been doing it for, 10, 15 years since it started.
Incredible.
That's great.
So there is lots of potential, Sarah.
Lots of potential. Email in your fears, podcast@therunningchannel.com. Don't forget, on Monday, 23rd of September, to check out our new collaboration hats, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.